In the late 1960s, a chilling mystery began to unfold in Northern California. A shadowy figure, who would later come to be known as the Zodiac Killer, embarked on a horrific spree of violence that would grip the region in fear. The first known attacks attributed to this enigmatic criminal took place in the winter months of 1968 and 69, with unsuspecting young couples being the primary targets. In the quiet town of Benicia, the first victims, a high school couple, David Faraday, 17, was shot once in the head at point-blank range. Betty Lou Jensen, 16, was shot 5 times in the back, were found lifeless in their parked car. Only 6 months later, another couple was brutally attacked. Darlene Ferrin, 22, was shot 5 times, Michael Mageau, 19, was shot 4 times, in the secluded Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo. In both instances, the victims were ambushed in their vehicles, leading to a sense of unease that rippled through the community. But it wasn't just the violent attacks that set the region on edge. The true terror began when the killer started communicating with the public. Letters began to appear in the mailboxes of local newspapers, taunting the police and the public with cryptic messages and complex ciphers. The sender proudly signed these letters as the Zodiac, hence, the name. These cryptic correspondences were unlike anything the public had seen before. Each letter contained a complex series of symbols, letters, and numbers, commonly known as cryptograms. The killer claimed that these intricate puzzles held the key to his identity, daring the public and the police to solve them. This sinister game of cat and mouse not only incited fear but also an unprecedented level of public intrigue. Despite the best efforts of seasoned codebreakers and amateur sleuths alike, only one of the 4 cryptograms has ever been definitively solved. The unsolved cryptograms remain as some of the most enduring symbols of the Zodiac Killer's reign of terror. Little did the people know, this was just the beginning of a terrifying series of events that would baffle investigators for decades. The Zodiac Killer had only just begun his reign of terror, leaving a lasting legacy of fear and mystery that continues to captivate the world to this day. As the body count rose, so did the letters, each one more cryptic and disturbing than the last. In the late 60s and early 70s, the San Francisco Bay Area was gripped by fear. Not just because of the brutal murders, but because of the letters that followed. These were not your average ransom notes. They were ciphers, complex codes that taunted law enforcement and terrified the public. The first letter arrived on August 1, 1969. It was sent to 3 newspapers, the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner. The killer demanded they publish his coded message, threatening more killings if they did not comply. Each letter was signed with a symbol, a circle with a cross running through it, the mark of the Zodiac. The most famous of these letters contained the 340 cipher, a complex code of 340 characters. Despite the best efforts of countless cryptologists and codebreakers, it remained unsolved for over 50 years. It was a chilling reminder of the Zodiac Killer's cunning and his desire to spread fear and confusion. But these letters were more than just codes, they were a window into the mind of the killer. They contained chilling details about the murders, often before the police had released information to the public. This served 2 purposes. First, it confirmed the authenticity of the letters. Second, it instilled a deep-seated fear in the public. The Zodiac Killer was not just a murderer. He was a manipulator, a puppet master pulling the strings of a terrified city. The letters also frustrated law enforcement, who were unable to crack the codes or catch the killer. As the months turned into years, the letters became a symbol of their failure, a constant reminder of a killer who remained one step ahead. With each letter, the Zodiac Killer became more than just a murderer, he became a symbol of fear and confusion. The investigation into the Zodiac Killer was as complex as the cryptograms he left behind. This case was not one to be solved by a single detective with a magnifying glass. It required the combined efforts of various law enforcement agencies, each contributing their unique skill sets and resources. The San Francisco Police Department, the California Department of Justice, and even the Federal Bureau of Investigation were among the many entities that tried to unmask the Zodiac Killer. But this investigation was far from a walk in the park. It was a labyrinth of dead ends and false leads, of frustratingly opaque clues and a suspect who seemed to revel in the attention. The killer's use of cryptograms added an extra layer of complexity, forcing investigators to not only track a murderer, but also crack a code that seemed almost alien in its complexity. Various leads were followed, some promising, others less so. The investigators relentlessly worked, sifting through countless pieces of evidence, trying to find that one golden thread that would lead them to the killer. Among the pool of suspects, a few stood out. Arthur Lee Allen, a Vallejo school teacher, was considered a prime suspect due to some circumstantial evidence and his cryptic comment about hunting people. However, the lack of concrete evidence linking him to the crimes left the investigators at a standstill. Another suspect was Richard Gaikowski, a newspaper editor who had an uncanny resemblance to the composite sketch of the Zodiac Killer and whose name was brought up by a former colleague. Despite the intriguing leads, again, no definitive evidence was found to connect him to the crimes. Then there was Ross Sullivan, who had a striking resemblance to the sketch and exhibited unusual behavior. But, like with the others, no direct link could be established. Despite their best efforts, the Zodiac Killer remained a shadowy figure, always one step ahead of the law. His identity, much like the final solution to his cryptograms, remains an enigma to this day. Decades have passed, but the Zodiac Killer's legacy continues to haunt us. This enduring fascination has permeated popular culture, inspiring a slew of books, movies, and TV shows that attempt to unravel the enigma. The unnerving mystery behind the Zodiac Killer's identity and motivations has proven to be a fertile ground for storytellers, sparking the public's imagination and fueling an endless stream of theories. Take, for instance, the 2007 movie Zodiac. Directed by David Fincher, the film delves into the exhaustive and often frustrating investigation, casting a spotlight on the obsession that defined those involved. It's a chilling exploration of the case, capturing the pervasive fear and uncertainty of the time. But it's not just Hollywood that's captivated by the Zodiac Killer. Numerous books and documentaries have also been dedicated to the case. From Robert Graysmith's Zodiac, a detailed account from a journalist who closely followed the case, to the more recent The Most Dangerous Animal of All, which explores the controversial theory that the author's father was the notorious killer. Each work adds another layer to the complex mosaic that is the Zodiac Killer. Beyond the realm of entertainment, the Zodiac Killer's legacy has also spurred advancements in technology and cryptography. One of the most intriguing aspects of the case is the 340 cipher, a coded message sent by the killer that remained unsolved for over 50 years. It was only in December of 2020 that a team of codebreakers, armed with modern technology and sheer determination, managed to decipher the cryptic message. This breakthrough, however, did not lead to the killer's identification, but it did reinforce the legacy of the Zodiac Killer as a figure who continues to challenge and confound us, even from the shadows of the past. The Zodiac Killer may never be caught, but his story continues to grip the world, a chilling reminder of a mystery that remains unsolved. The Zodiac Killer has become a figure of fascination for true crime enthusiasts around the globe. Books have been written, movies made, and theories abound, each one adding to the mythology of this infamous killer. His story has become a part of our cultural consciousness, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within the human soul. As we delve deeper into this enigma, we are constantly reminded of the Zodiac Killer's chilling message, "I will not be caught." This haunting declaration serves as a stark reminder of the unsolved nature of this case, a case that has captivated and confounded us for over half a century. As we continue to search for answers, we are left with a haunting question: will the Zodiac Killer ever be unmasked?